Hey Matt, can you hear me?
Hey, there we go. Okay, I'm turning up the volume.
There we go.
This is Rory. Hey,
Hey,
Corbin.
Rory.
Hey, Nicole.
Hello, how are you? Hi,
Malcolm's over
Rory.
here. Also, he's got
Hello. With a giant slinky.
An awesome slinky.
he's very suspect if this is going to be any fun though or not. So, he's,
Nice.
but I brought your book though. I gave Malcolm an early birthday present. Your birthday present over. He's very excited for it. He doesn't want to show it off. I'm gonna show it off. It's got a
That looks
lot of
fun.
really fun ones in there, and they got another one that's all about games, and then there's another one of like outdoor activities. Um, it's got a lot of really fun things in there, and a lot that
Awesome.
I've never heard of before. We've already played them, but now I just get all excited whenever somebody says that they're bored. So I'm just like, oh, we're gonna get the book out. This is gonna be great. It is fun. Well, hey, and Rory was very excited for it today because she was excited to be able to see everybody again.
Good.
New people here.
Yep. Well, at least I'm new. Nicole, are you new as well?
I was in last week.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm Corbin. I guess I'll introduce myself since I'm the new guy. Matt and I have known each other for forever when we were both founding ed tech companies back in the day, and I've been a software developer for 8 years now, and now I run another education business that's focused on teaching software engineering.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Well, I'm Nicole Peters. I'm an occupational therapist, but I do assistive technology full time for a school district. I'm like in the suburbs of Kansas City. So,
Cool.
Okay, and
Fluffy, fluffy, un, funny, yin, funny,
a funny
funny,
story you want to say?
yin, un, I, yin, and bike, yin, and, 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 oh, oh yeah, baby, baby, and, I, oh my God, oh, Bobby.
A lot to say.
A lot about babies. Yeah, Roy's got lots of funny stories to share. Okay, all right. Let's see. I'm gonna try and share. Malcolm and I are getting over our illness here. Okay, let's see. Here we go. That's what I want to share. Okay. All right. Yeah, so Corbin, so you and I have been messaging a little bit about what we're having some trouble with. I've got just set up as like buttons right now, but I'll show you because one of the questions, like, so the two different things. So we've got Open AI API set up. That's working just fine. And then the WaveNet one, here's what I've got set up for there. So I was able to get the authentication working. Yeah, I found somebody was trying to figure out the same thing in the bubble forum, and so I was kind of following that along. So I was able to use that to figure out what to do.
Fantastic.
The authentication that was really tripping me up because I was used
Yep.
to it. OpenAI was much easier. And so then
Google
here,
is always a pain.
yeah. And so then here I've got it set up then. So it's going to opposed to the text to speech API. I've got it set up here then too. So then I've got then of like all the different parameters for the API call, and that's working.
Okay.
And it comes back with a file, audio content. And so I'm guessing that that's coming back as like an audio file. I don't really know
Yep.
why. It's set up in the parameters as MP3.
Okay.
And I haven't messed around with like the different types of audio encodings that you can get back at all. But
Sure.
so it seemed to me, so it seems like from that we're getting an MP3 file back, but I haven't been able to figure out how to like then play it.
How do you, yes. Okay,
That's
cool.
one, yes, that was one issue. And then that other was on can I hear? So we want to get these buttons, and that very much looks like the um the buttons that are on the speech device, like the one that Rory uses.
Yep.
And that's where I was running into trouble trying to figure that out of how to have it work that way. And Nicole, could you explain a little bit of like how it is that like keyboard like how students will use keyboard, you know, or like one or two switch access for
So
computers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what we're trying to get it to do is like be able to do scanning across. So like an AAC user might use a switch, which is also just doing a keyboard shortcut key thing to move across and then maybe speak out loud.
Yep.
So
So
it's scanning across and has a pattern to be able to scan through it.
let's talk about the buttons first, because I think we can knock this one out.
Okay.
Or we can at least understand exactly how it is right now. First of all, do you have this laid out in a Bubble app?
Yeah, so I've got it, and this one I put together today, and these I've got set up as buttons.
Okay, cool. So there's good news and bad news. The good news is that anything on the web already supports AAC navigable keyboard navigation by default. The problem for most people is that it guesses at it, and they have built their sites poorly. And the good news about Bubble is that Bubble doesn't build their sites poorly. It you know, kind of already has the infrastructure to build it properly in there. Now, the bad news, and this is the worst news, is that the reason you don't think it's working is because it isn't displaying a focus style.
Mhm.
It's not visually communicating to you that the element is focused.
Right.
Which is a requirement, let's be clear, of the AAC standards, and it is not one that is possible by default in Bubble or by any plugin that I have found.
Okay.
However, I just thought of a hack that might solve that for us, provided that we don't really care which provided that we don't care too much about our visual styles. We just want to know what is focused. We could basically add a little piece of style to the site that says anything on this site, if it's focused, like give it a little bit of space, give it a border around it. And you can test that it actually works, because when you brought this up, I tested this. I loaded my app, and Nicole, I build on Bubble pretty frequently, although I've built on all sorts of technologies in the past. I loaded up my site and I tabbed through some buttons and then hit enter. Like I picked a repeating group and I tabbed through them, and it navigated me to where that button would have navigated me to. It just didn't show me that it was focused.
Okay. Yeah.
So the easiest way, I think, to do this would be, we need to add a focus style to everything that's focused. So I think if you grab a Nicole, do you build on Bubble as well? Just to
No,
Okay.
this is you're not. This is not my language. I'm learning it from you guys.
Sure. Okay, then if you grab an HTML element and just slam it up at the very top of your page.
All right, sure.
HTML is right there at the bottom. Yep.
Okay.
And all this is going to do is style. It's going to be a style element, and it's going to style everything that's focused. Yeah, so you can
So do
open a
like
style
back
tag.
CSS or not at all, or just to style? I can remember.
I actually haven't written a CSS style tag in a long time. Hold on. I'm gonna actually just ask ChatGPT here, which I have open conveniently. Write me a style HTML style tag.
Nicole, when I did my student teaching, it was a disaster, and so then I didn't do teaching afterwards, and I actually was a web programmer for 3 years, and then I went back to teaching.
Okay.
And
So are you teaching currently?
Right now,
yeah,
right now I am at Rory and Max school.
yeah,
Okay. Okay.
It's kindergarten special ed, so totally different.
and,
Oh, awesome.
and-
Fun.
and
You're busy
and
then.
Yeah.
home, one, home, and hot you.
You want to invite them all over and play?
One,
Just Nicole.
no, yeah.
Just Nicole for fun.
Okay. I'll come over.
Okay, I just copy pasted it to you.
Forward.
So you started your style tag correctly, and then you could just paste that body in there.
Okay. All right. Okay.
All right. Now, if you load up if you preview the web page and refresh it, I believe what this should do is that if you just start hitting tab,
Yeah, my size showed up on home. Well, it did that. I can see the little tiny border outline on there.
oh, okay. So did that happen? Did the border outline happen prior to you adding the style tag?
Only on button elements.
Only on button elements, right?
On button elements, yeah. And I guess part of the problem that I was trying to figure out is I couldn't figure out a way within Bubble to get image, to be able to style the button so that it would look like this. I assumed I could go through and do like a custom, like the HTML element for everything. But I couldn't get it to really turn out like this. And I didn't want to do like a custom HTML element for every single button.
You couldn't get the button to look like that, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, so I've got in, what was this one?
Oh,
That one. There we go. Oh yeah, and here. This is where I did, I think these are, I just had them have these set up as grids, yeah. As a group. And so I was like, right, like, so I could have it like that, of where then like that would be, I'm treating it like a button and then like using the actions.
Yeah.
But then it's not accessible anymore, was then the problem that I ran into. It's like, yeah, if we preview this one.
Right.
Yeah, then it would be of, then I can get to work, but if I tab, it doesn't. It'll select the form elements. Okay.
Because those are form elements and
Right.
they naturally have the tab.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like you need those combined into one thing, right?
Yeah.
So is your other, the thing that I tested and that I just retested to make sure I wasn't tripping, is a repeating group. Is this a repeating group
No.
on that you tested just a second ago when in your preview?
No, that was not a repeating group.
Okay. Let's see. Let me do a Google here.
So that would make more sense. Okay, that's a much better way to set this up, I think. Yeah. I've just got it. I just got them in there. Those. Roy's been very excited about being able to see everybody.
no, and home, no, and work, no.
So I think that if you add them to a repeating group and then you make it an on click for every, or like you add a click event to every element, then you should be fine based on the way that my app is working here, which I'd be, if you want to see, I'd be happy to demo that. But can also skip that as well. Okay. Share screen. I think you'll have to allow it. Cool. All right, so I've just got my list of, this is a list of courses on my website. So you can see I'm hitting tab, I hit it 3 times and it's showing me in the bottom left down here what I'm focused on. So it told me I was focused on the admin link up there. So you see my cursor just hit the search bar here, which obviously this is not AAC accessible. So I'm going to tab one more time. And here in a second, you can tell that this group just got focused because of a slight movement. And all I'm going to do is hit the enter key. And it brings me to the link that that it would have. The problem is, I don't know if this would work outside of a repeating group. Yeah, I don't know if this would work outside of a repeating group. This is one of the few instances where in JavaScript, it would probably be a lot easier to pull off than with Bubble. Bubble hides a lot of things.
And so I didn't quite see what was changing. Could you try that again from the search? And so is it the whole box, that whole Learn Python box that changes, or just the preview button?
All that will happen is this 20 hours and 57 steps moves up by about 2 pixels. Well, it's actually, that is the focus on the button. And then if I go back 1, I can prove that the box is being hit. I wonder if, man, could like add an event listener on every element. We could watch it pop up in the console, which one's focused. But so here, I just clicked in the space. So you see on the bottom, it's on the quests link up at the top right. Now contacts, now admin. Now this next one should take us down to the next element, which is this all categories. And I can't move my mouse over it or else I might change focus. And then search quests by tags is there. And now if I tab 1 time, this should, in natural HTML style, focus the entire repeating group. And then if I tab another time, it should go to the first element of the repeating group. And now if I hit enter.
Okay.
You just can't see it. The only, at least on my end, the only thing I could see is whenever you were in the little search menu. Otherwise, you can't see it. You just have to know where you're at, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Which, to be fair, most like screen readers are going to do this for you. They're not going to let the website dictate, you know, what's accessible and whatnot. They are going to force the website to be at least more accessible by like spacing out elements that get focus and providing some styling around them. If we did try to add that style tag, I'm wondering what would happen. Pop over here. That's not even, do you see the screen? It's covering up. All right, here we go. The Zoom interface was covering up my
Nicole, do you work with any students that are blind or low vision that like use this reader?
Yeah, I work with a little bit of everything. Everybody with everything.
Okay. Like I'm kind of thinking of the I'm thinking of, you know, we'll have to try it out. I think we'd have, I don't know, I'd think about more, but I'm kind of thinking of like the, you know, like as the screen reader, what the difference would be of like the screen reader reading it out of like as we're kind of like tabbing through of like on focus, like
Mhm.
what elements it would read out on that thing.
Right.
I think we're gonna have to just test that out because I'm thinking it's like right, like one part would just be like the visual indication for the sighted users, and then for anybody that's using the screen readers, what that experience is going to be like for them.
Right. Well, and that's what a lot of times you get. I mean, I'm just thinking like with AAC devices, you it's a setting, so as soon as you scan to it, it just speaks it. So it does
Mhm.
kind of a preview, I guess. A lot of times it's called a preview on a device. So it speaks whatever you've, you know, told it to um on that button. So
Which is not great many times.
yeah. And that's not
On
always
your
like
average site.
the um like screen readers or can be kind of wonky sometimes for some of that stuff. So on an AC device, it's a little different because you can usually
Hmm.
assign what you want it to say. So even if it says like, like dog on the button, you might be assigning it to say, Millie the dog or something, you can
Yeah,
assign it something else. So, but
right. Um, oh, and just for some background, I was an accessibility engineer for a couple of years at Ithaca that owns JSTOR. Um, they're like a large repository of technical articles.
yeah,
Well, I didn't know this, Corbin.
Yeah, Cody Pumper and I worked there.
All right.
I say accessibility engineer. I was a regular engineer and we were in charge of implementing accessibility. So
you may or may have not have known what you were doing then.
well, no, we had to go through plenty of trainings.
Training, yeah.
Okay, so I just added that style tag here. And I'll explain what it did. You can see how now it's highlighting what I'm focusing. And this is only with styles. This is no JavaScript.
Yeah.
So we're getting better.
Yeah.
However, so you see that it focuses that item here, which I'll click on it. I guess it's like a link or something usually. And then it hops over to the input. Now, I was wrong actually, because Bubble doesn't do this properly. It hopped to the magnifying glass, and then it actually hops down straight into the repeating group to this suggested quest
Oh, I barely see it there in front of the
thing.
suggested. Yeah.
Yeah, it's essentially the styles that I have are actually covering up the star.
Mm.
Um,
Oh, yeah. It's like basically those little images is what it's kind of covering the little. I see.
right. And this is because if you were doing HTML accessibly, you would have wrapped this entire thing in a list, and then each one of these base level boxes would be a list element, and that would cause screen readers to be able to understand what's happening here. But Bubble just slaps it in a rack of divs and calls it good. But this is telling us something, because anywhere that I click here, I mean, these buttons aren't independently all telling it to go here. Anything that we click here would on this card would send us over there, and that's an on-click event. So you could probably hack Bubble into telling it to, oh yeah, now that I went back, my styles are gone. Hack Bubble into styling the thing that is the parent of something that's focused, and then put only one focusable element inside of each of your buttons that you want to create.
Which is, I mean, they're simple anyway, so that might work.
Yeah, I think that would work out well for it, and I think we could target it down. Well, yeah, most of the interface is just going to be those buttons anyways. I think we could probably specify if needed of like, right, like find ways that indicate so it just does those things that we want to be acting as the buttons.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that should work out okay. Because yeah, it'll just be. I think it's just going to be an image and then text.
Yep. And you can make that all just divs. Well,
Yeah.
I actually didn't know you had a background in web engineering, but I'm assuming you can write those styles then.
Yeah.
Cool.
That was back in the day when it was Internet Explorer and tables. So
Fantastic. Well, you should know this hacky stuff pretty well then. This is your natural environment.
Okay, well this sounds good. And I'm thinking even if okay, this is going to be our solution for this first version, and then we'll just find out from testing how well that works with screen readers and what that experience is like. And
Yeah.
I don't know if that would have to be like version 2 or 3 or something like that, but if we can just get it so that it's highlighting it
Yeah.
for sighted users so you can visually see where we're at and we're kind of going through, that's really what we're going to need.
Yep.
And I guess Corbin, I hadn't thought about doing repeating groups, but that kind of, I mean, would you recommend that that's how we set up the buttons?
Not anymore. When we discovered that the repeating group actually wasn't what was making it work, it was the fact that it was a child element of the thing that we actually are visualizing. So I'd say just put one clickable link. I'd say do a link because that's going to be the most easily understood by a screen reader. Because links come with better natural reading than buttons do because it's easier to interpret what's about to happen for the screen reader.
Right.
So just add a link element, even if it's invisible. In fact, sites that are built for accessibility are stupidly complex with a bunch of invisible elements around the page that actually force screen readers to work the way they want to do. Is very expensive usually to build a site that's both accessible for normal people and styled well, and then also yeah, works to the AAC level 1 standards. Do you want to do it live, or do you want to call that one good and get 30 minutes on the audio thing?
Yeah, I think we're good on that. Let's figure out this audio thing, because that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Which I'm just super excited. I don't know, Nicole, I'm super excited and waiting for speech devices to have the same really high quality voices that like AI has now. Have you been hearing all those, Nicole?
Yeah. And I think they'll get there. It's just yeah, it might be a little while, but
yeah, they sound so good. I was like, oh, this is gonna be great.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's if you can share your screen and give me a demo of what it looks like.
You're talking about the quiet and the loud, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
I don't remember what you called it. Yeah.
Yeah, and even then it's just sort of like yeah. Yep. Let's see here. Where did I put that?
And I like that idea of the quiet and the loud. I know.
Okay. So here,
I think that's cool.
So this is what I've got set up. This is where I was testing it. And we'll just do a funny adventure. Okay. So we're gonna run our story. And
thank you, ChatGPT.
Speak text. And then nothing. But
nothing happens.
We've got it set up. When we click on that, I run this.
Yep.
So right now I've just got it doing the text of hello. And that's that. I'm not really sure what to do.
Cool. So and this will be I didn't do any pre-research for this, but I don't know if you remember Edgy had a lot of voice to text interactions and voice recording interactions.
Yeah.
So, and I'm actually working on a voice app right now where I'm having a similar problem. Although
Right.
I think we can solve this particular one. So what you need to do, well, I'll explain, I guess, in my terms, what you've done so far. So you get your story, and that story's data, which you could go ahead and plug that in there to the speech text. That's easy, right? The text generated story. Yeah. Cool. So you have selected to create a story, you had to create the story, and now when you click that button, you are sending an API call, which to Google, you're asking Google, can you make this text into speech?
Mm-hmm.
And Google is sending you back the data. And at this point, your browser or your computer will have the data. But now what you need to do is there's no way to just like naturally stream data from an API call straight to the user. You have to assign it to an audio playback device, which is on the page. So you have to have some device which has like a play and a pause and everything. Now you can make it autoplay if you want to.
Okay.
But that's what we're going to need to find. And then what you'll do is, when I say find, is they're relatively simple, but we need to find out how to do it within Bubble. And then what you'll do is assign the data that comes back from Google to that device.
Okay.
And that's kind of like what you had on the one page, the other kind of prototype, right? You had like a button that was like quiet and the button was loud. So you just have to have a button and assign it this. Is that what?
Yeah. It's kind of the idea that, I'm kind of thinking of that. Yeah. Once so then it would load it. So really, I guess what we'd want is we'd probably run that API call. So when we generate the text, then automatically run it to Google to get the text to speech. And then from there, and then that way, when somebody taps on a button to have it read aloud, it would already be loaded.
Yep, exactly. You load it into that element's data. And I'm looking right now at some code that I have to see. See exactly how this is done. Because I think it might be an HTML element, a custom HTML element. Here we go. I got to the right point. Okay, yeah. So this was introduced back in 2016, the HTML audio element. So we're, I think, going to do a Google search for bubble.io HTML audio playback. And HTML audio playback, bubble.io HTML audio playback or audio playback. And it looks like there's a audio player full, BEP. And I think we're going to need to rely on a plugin for this. Or a simple HTML audio player plugin might work pretty well. Just to get started with. You can always swap this element out for styles and functionality later.
Okay.
Once we, oh, it's $4 a month. Never mind. Here, I'll drop the link to this one that I found in the chat. So if you go to your Bubble app,
okay. So we're about that one.
you'll add plugins in the top right.
It's right, like Zoom's always covering up like the thing you need as you're looking around.
Yeah.
There we go.
Sweet.
Okay.
Looks like they have some good versions on this too. Like they're on version 3.5. That's probably a good indication they've maintained it. And they have a step-by-step guide. And they fixed their iOS functionality bug, which was on that page. Okay, so then this should be an element. This is like an element that you can add from the left column. Oh, yeah, scroll down a little bit, sorry. So it has an element, and then it'll also give you events and actions to play with in like the workflows or in, you know, when other elements are hit.
Okay.
It gives you play, pause, mute, unmute. So what we'll likely want to do is set the, it'll probably give us a set data action or something.
So this dynamic link. No. Get data from external API.
Oh, let me look back at Zoom. Yeah, so I don't know, let's see. I don't know what they're expecting. So this is actually the hardest part of any audio thing, is figuring out what the audio player expects versus what you have. So we think, have an HTML, sorry, an MP3 file, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what we could do to test this? I'll just say this so that you can go back and do it later and we won't have to take time. We could add a file download button onto the page and assign the value of the file download button to your API response and verify that we're actually getting back an HTML file.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna say download. And so would that be like a workflow?
Well, it might be another plugin. I would expect. It looks like it's another workflow. This is maintained by a group called AirDev, though, so they're extremely reputable. They probably have educated most of the Bubble developers out there. I dropped the link in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, because typically for like if you were to set an audio file to download, you would take whatever that file data is, set it as this, what do they call those in HTML? It's like a specific HTML tag.
Yay. Yay.
Oh, it's a link with a download attribute. You're set up on Google Cloud Platform, right?
Yes, I am.
Ah.
Yeah. Well, and so another thing I tried doing.
Yay.
1 second, Rory. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, What was I thinking again? Oh, is there a way to use the like the built-in text to speech that's within the screen or within the browser?
I'd have to Google that.
Because I was
so
trying
the
that, but I didn't have any luck. I guess
Yeah.
that was a question of like when you've done speech stuff, why have you done what approach have you taken of like why right like just like a better sounding voice, or like what would be the benefit of like using like WaveNet versus like or the browser's text to speech?
Oddly enough, accessibility would be the best reason to not use the browser's text to speech. I don't know if that's possible since accessibility tools are usually tied into like the actual computer's OS pretty firmly. So I'm not sure that those would be accessible by the browser, but two, if they were, you'd have different devices on different platforms that were like the default accessibility voice to speech device. So you wouldn't want like it to only work on Chrome, for example. Because that would be an accessibility issue for.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, unless you can count on it always being on a single, particular device. Okay, so we have two strategies we've looked at here, both of which look like the easiest thing would be to have an actual audio file link, because I think that audio player wants to get audio from somewhere, like that dynamic link. I think it's asking for you to tell it where an audio file is so it can stream it, most likely. I'm thinking here. It would be good to run a test of this just to make sure it actually works and isn't bogus in the first place, and just like link it to a open source audio file. I think I would recommend doing that prior to trying to hook it up to your actual data. Yeah, this does the exact same thing. I'm gonna look something up.
Or how about we can just have it so that when we click this button, then we want to download that right away. So instead of a separate one, it'll just automatically download the file. And we want this result from step 1, audio content. Maybe.
So I'm thinking that what it actually wants when it says dynamic link is like a URL to the file. I wonder if you could have your Google WaveNet API call return you a link to the file rather than return you the audio itself. That would fix all of this.
Oh, okay.
So go to your Bubble API connector. And
Take down here the audio encoding.
Well, that'll tell it how to encode it. Do you know where this API call is going to? Can you scroll up just a little bit? Text-to-speech.googleapis.com. Google text. Because if we could get it to return We could do it either way. It's definitely possible either way, just to do it with the response that they hand us, or to give this playback device a URL. It seems though like the faster way would be to give that playback device a URL.
Is there a way to like receive the file and like store it temporarily within Bubble and then we just link to that? Is this something you can do within Bubble?
Yeah, let me. Sorry, I'm just Googling things here as we think of them. How real engineering is done.
It's resourceful.
I'm kind of writing down notes here, yeah, as we're going along of. Yeah, because I hadn't really thought about that. Like, that's one thing I've been wondering about is what happens to that audio thing then.
Yep. Man, and the problem is there's so many similar like use cases for other elements like file pickers that you have to Google around. Let's see. One thing that I would recommend is to see if they will return it in WebM format rather than MP3. That'll be more natively usable across browsers. That will not fix this problem straight off the bat, but so you probably have an audio blob. I'm guessing that's what the file is that Google hands you back. Did you look in their API documentation to see what that response is going to be like? You're using Synthesize, right?
Correct. No, I have not looked in their API documentation.
Okay. So it will return you audio content is a string of bytes. It's a base 64 encoded string of audio bytes. Cool. That's good. I wonder what I'm gonna see what a file. Sorry, I'm not sharing my screen, so you guys can't see that I'm like tooling around. I'm gonna see what this audio tag looks like normally without any styling, because we might just be able to trick it in, or we might be able to use the audio tag and then just do styles to it later.
Yeah. If you want to share your screen, you can.
Sure thing. Now you'll be able to watch me stumble through the internet hoping that it delivers a solution. Web3 or sorry, W3 Schools is a great place to get audio. Okay, so we'll do a try it yourself. Cool. So this is what an audio element looks like. Oh, wow. Hopefully that didn't play for you. Did that play?
Yeah.
That
Is it a horse or something?
was terrible. Yeah. Okay, so you could actually just drop like this audio element straight there. But I wonder if you can HTML audio tag provide base 64 encoded string. Cool. Oh, cool. Could you go back to the API call? I think this is great news for us. Go back to the API call and look at, you know what, man? I think you can just assign that dynamic link straight to the value of the API call file. I didn't expect that, but it looks like this audio tag it'll allow you to provide, like, this is a link, like this is a relative link that would go to the website's URL /horse.mp3. And you'd type it right here, but it looks like it'll also allow you just to provide type headers, which I think come back on the API call, and then just provide straight up the base 64 encoded string behind it. I'll let you share your screen to see if we pull this off.
Okay, all right.
And what I want to see here is if you initialize the call, again, does it come with headers?
Audio content.
Okay. Doesn't look like it comes with headers. And this is just the audio content. It actually determined that it was a file type. I missed that earlier. Cool. Now just go to your app and assign that audio content straight to the audio playback device, and let's hope this works.
Okay, how do we do that?
Yep. So where's your audio playback device? This is called Audio Player A.
That one?
Let's see. So go to your workflow.
Yeah.
And instead of download file here, hit delete. Do this, click to add an action. And say set, type in set. Track A audio player, dynamic link, the result of step one's audio content. All right, cross your fingers.
Okay.
Because if this doesn't work, then we don't know where we went wrong.
All right. Okay, we're gonna generate a story. And then we're gonna speak the text.
Is that making any noise for you?
No.
No.
No, but I'm not seeing like I feel like it should have like a
Play button or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, I'm going to, just in case this wasn't, I'm just gonna write hello.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll try that one more time, just in case that wasn't really getting the text. and then speak to text. Nothing's happening, huh?
Okay. Well, I am going to link you. I don't know if you're taking digital notes, but I'm going to link you to this Stack Overflow post that I found, which I think tells us what we need. I'm also going to link you to this W3 schools. So that Stack Overflow is going to tell you how to assign audio that comes in base 64 encoded to a audio element as its source.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna put those notes in here.
And that's just the audio tag.
Okay, we are getting closer here. We're getting closer to this.
Made some headway.
Here.
I do think that if you wanted to, you could. In fact, I would change that to padding too. I did margin on the style. I would change that to padding.
Okay.
Not that it won't.
We're
It'll
just
be
gonna
ugly.
Border 5 pixels. A black border. No way we're gonna miss that.
That'll be plenty noticeable. So one more, if you'd like to test this, I always don't trust plugins. If they don't work right away, then I start to not trust them. If you want to test this in just really basic HTML to understand what's going on, I would recommend using the W3 schools link in combination with that Stack Overflow post and adding an HTML audio element to your page. It'll come with a play and a pause and everything, and then just set it source to the output of your Google WaveNet response.
And how would I? Okay, yeah. So how would I do that? We'll try that out here.
Yep.
Everybody go and sit down.
So do.
Oh.
That was. Okay, so we put chunk in here.
I hate the finicky clickiness of no code apps, where you can accidentally select or drag something.
Okay,
cool. Delete one of those.
Right, and we want.
And you don't want the type annotation either, because Google says that it replies with the headers of the type annotation.
Okay, and so then here now the source is going to be the resulting data stream that came from the other one.
Yes. So to do that, you're going to do source equals, and this is a dynamic thing, right?
Yeah.
Now what I would do here is I would select limited page. So type that's the name of your overall page.
Okay.
So, and I would assign it a custom state. So create new custom state.
Okay.
And type in audio source.
Okay.
State type is a string or a text, sorry.
Text. Okay.
And then create.
Okay.
And then in your workflow now.
Oh, okay.
Go set, you can delete that.
So this, and then we want to then set
a state of an element. Yep. and then do limited page.
We want to put what that string was, that audio content value. Okay.
Yep.
So now we'll go back to here.
Oh.
Come on, computer, don't die on me now. All right. Okay, all right, that looks good. We got a little audio thing right there. This is it. This is it.
Different.
Okay, we're gonna
Yeah.
just make up a story. And we're gonna run WaveNet.
All right. So
Work out.
I was thinking this might not work. And the one other thing that we can try pretty quickly. Wait, can you inspect this page and look at that audio element source? Grab your pointer up there in the top right. Yeah, you were on it. Now expand it to see the source. Okay, so this is kind of like what we expected to see, right? Or this is the same type of thing that we got from the.
Oh, right. So it got a thing, but maybe it's not putting in the data type.
I don't think it's putting in the data type. I don't know why. But what you can do is tell it will be an MP3. And you will do type equals audio / MPEG in the HTML element.
What was it again? Audio
/ MPEG. And close quotes. Wonderful. Crossing fingers once again.
Yeah, Malcolm, you gotta cross your fingers this time. This is it. This is gonna work. Crossing our fingers here.
Engineering is much more like shotguns than it is like rifles. Just hit speak text, I think, because you have the hello in there right now, right? Important.
Well,
We're
the
close to
fact
something.
that
Yeah,
there's a string
closer.
that the audio string is there. So we're close. Well, on that one example, wasn't there like a data :
Yeah, so we could look up base 64 encoded string audio headers.
Can I write just like data : like that? This is my non-technical thought.
Yeah, go for it, man.
You funny.
You like what he's saying?
Ah.
Oh, right. Yeah, you're right. Because I put the where it's not doing the thing. Nope, that didn't do it.
So look at the source for that again. We've got one more shot. We'll try here. Yeah. Can you double click in there? Okay. So rather than just data : we are going to do data. Here, I'm going to send this to you. I'm literally just going to hope this works. Data : audio / MPEG : base 64, comma. And then the rest of everything. Oh yeah, type it in there.
All right. So right after the data, we've got that.
Yes.
Is that comma part of it?
The comma is a part of it. Yep. Oh, take the type annotation out of there now.
After
Right.
we got- yeah. Oh, you want me to
Ah.
here?
And we're so close.
Do we have anything for it to even read? Do we need to generate a story again, or does it?
Yeah, I think what I put in there was just like hello, because I was worried just in case it wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot.
That.
All right. I think we're in the right general area. And I think that once you figure this out, which I think is a little easier to do with the audio element, just because nothing else could be messed up,
Right.
then it's probably going to work with that other audio playback device. I'm actually going to search that exact string. 1 second. We'll give it one more go here. Funny enough, if you type that exact string into your browser, do this real quick. Take the thing that I pasted in Zoom chat, data:audio/impeg4 base 64.
Yeah.
And just paste it into a new window. It loads an audio player.
Like, hey, this is audio.
Yeah, and if you take the comma out there, it doesn't work.
Okay.
So, ooh, yeah, paste that entire thing in there.
Hello.
Oh, wow. So what's the difference?
Hello.
Man, we don't know what the difference is, but we're pretty happy with that proof. We generate a story, then copy that over there just so we can hear the story.
Have that satisfaction of it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, here we go. Oh no, okay, yeah, so we're gonna go back into here. Okay, so we want then for this instead of a hello, no, we want our story. Generated text. Okay. And now going back over here, we're gonna reload it. And Rory, we're gonna make it a funny story. Do you want it to be about a knight, explorer, pirate, detective, or inventor? A knight or explorer or pirate? What are you thinking? No, we'll leave the computer there. Knight, explorer, pirate. Okay, I'm gonna pick a pirate. You're doing pirate beat. No, we're not gonna leave the computer over there. It's gonna stay here.
Great.
No, we're gonna keep it here. All right, and then
you say speak text.
And then speak text. Okay.
That will give you the audio, but without the proper data link.
Oh,
so then we're gonna edit that data link once we get here.
All right.
Audio. Yeah. Oh.
Very touchy there. Okay, just oh, come on. All right, we're gonna go back to where you messaged it to me. Chat. Okay. All right, and then in here. No computer has to
take the double data out.
Oh, thank you.
Hello there.
Oh no.
What?
Why does it say hello there?
May.
Wow. Bizarre.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's something I've got in a different thing. I don't know. Maybe. Okay. Well, we know that we've got it coming from someplace, and it's going to WaveNet, and it's generating the text, and it's sending back a file, and we're getting all of that, and that is good.
The browser can read it.
Right. The browser can read it. We just gotta get Bubble getting there. We're reducing the potential sources of error. Now we know that it's just Bubble, and we just gotta like, you know, figure out how to get it in there. I'm wondering if it like it's just sort of like because it's rendering that element, it's rendering the HTML element after, or the audio file is being created after the HTML element has already been rendered on the page. Like, do we need to re-render it on the page?
That could be.
And then it, well, right, like because the audio, well, because the source is going in there, but the, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's something with the audio. I don't know. Yeah, it's weird. Well, okay, we'll keep investigating into it. But this has been awesome. Thank you, Corbin.
Yeah,
Yeah, thanks, Corbin. Awesome.
definitely. You're welcome. This was a fun little exploration.
We got text to speech and we got the buttons. We'll like
Hey.
90% of the solution now. We made it possible and how we're gonna get there.
Big win.
Rory wants to tell one story real quick, very quickly, Rory. Now you're on the spot. You're invited everybody over.
One.
Okay.
One.
How about when we get this app working and we release it to the world, we'll have like a barbecue and we'll invite them over.
One.
Oh, now you're inviting.
Don't
Corbin?
offer that. I'll come over.
All right. I'll invite you over, Nicole. Roy.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
All right. Good night, guys.
Good night. Thank you.
Bye.
You're welcome.